for fighting. I gave her a paper with the meeting on it. You just come up to school when it's time for the meeting. I'm like, all right, cool. I get home from work. No, matter of fact, I go pick them up. And Madison didn't come out to school. So I'm like, where's Madison? I thought, because they said that they was going to let her stay until school was over, because I think it was late already when they called or whatever. But Madison didn't come out. I already had Michaela. I had Ryan. I went back to the school. I'm like, well, where is she at? Didn't see Madison. So we go back to the room. I'm worried at this point. I'm like, because at this time, Madison really didn't do stuff like this. Like, she would leave the hotel room and go with her friends, but from school I would always pick her up. I would see my child after school. So around this time, I'm at the room and Madison didn't come home. I'm like, where's this little girl? So I text her and I'm like, Maddie, are you okay? She didn't reply, but she was talking to her sister. Like, she would reply to her sister or whatever. So her sister told me, like, Ma, she with Madison and her mother. So I'm like, well, what's her information? I started calling Madison mother. Madison mother didn't answer. So the next day, I think I went to work and I came home, well, to the extended stay, and all Madison stuff was gone. Like, her bags was packed, all her shit was gone. So I had asked Michaela, I'm like, did you talk to your sister? And Michaela was like, yeah, I did. I talked to her. She's at Madison house. Madison mother came and picked her up. So I was like, what the fuck? So in my head, I'm like, how's she gonna come pick up my child and didn't even talk to me? So I'm like, well, ask her for the address, like, because I'm gonna go get my child. So she was like, she not responding. She not responding. So I'm like, what you mean? So in the midst of that, I ain't talked to my child after she came and got her clothes for about, I'm gonna say, a whole week. You know, I was going nuts. I was talking to people, they like, Shamika, you know, you just gotta let it be, because Madison gonna do what she want, but not in a whole nother state. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, make a long story short. In the midst of, let me just sum it up a little bit. In the midst of all that, because I was just going to do a whole lot with Madison, on top of, okay, I said my son's father came down here and moved with us to the extended stay, right? Okay, so we started alternating weeks. So he would pay 1 week, I would pay another week. And I don't want to get too in-depth into it, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking about him, and I'm not. Like, I'm not. He's a good person. He's a good man, but communication sucks. So, he would pay 1 week, I would pay 1 week. Okay, so I'm just going to sum it up a little bit. All right, so he called me one day when I was at work. This was his week to pay. This was like in November. I think my birthday had just passed. I had went out with my friends and everything. But one thing about me, if you know me, my communication is top tier. Like, I with him anyway. Like, I communicate, and I wanted him to be on the same page as me. So I would ask him, like, do you have your money for the room? Like, just to see if we on the same page, because if not, I'm going to have to figure out a way so we can get it or whatever. Like, or so I can get it, or we can do something. So, because I'm not getting put out. I have children, especially all the way down South Carolina. You got to let me know. You got to communicate stuff like that. So he kept saying, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Of course, I think that's just the man thing. He didn't want to tell me that he didn't have it or whatever. But you got to tell me. We already was in situations like this prior. So you know the outcome. You should. So I'm like, do you have it? He like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Okay, fast forward to, we always pay on that Friday. So I'm thinking that he paid for the room on that Friday. Sunday was my birthday. So around Thursday and Friday, I was asking him, did he have the money for the room? He was saying, yeah, he had it. Okay, bam. That Monday come, I'm at work. So I get a call. So I go outside and I answer my phone. And he was like, hold on, somebody want to talk to you. So I'm like, what? I'm confused. So he put the lady from downstairs, that worked downstairs, I think she the hotel manager, on the phone. So she was like, yeah, hello. So at this point, me and her are saying hello back and forth, because we confused. Like, why did he just pass the phone over and didn't say nothing? So I'm like, hello. So she's like, yeah, I'm like, she was like, well, I guess Rodney called about payment for the room. I'm like, payment? She was like, yeah, he said y'all wanted to get it extended. I'm like, extended? Like, what? I'm confused. She was like, confused? I find it very hard that you don't know that he don't have the money for the room. So at this point, my mouth, mind you, I'm at work, my heart dropped. I'm like, what? I'm like, I promise you I did not know. One thing about me, I'm going to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to pay my bills, and I try to communicate that with him so we can be on the same page. So I said, can you put Rodney back on the phone? So, no, before she put him back on the phone, she was like, I can do this one last time. When she said one last time, this means that he always did this, right? I'm going to do this one last time, but after this, I'm not doing it again. So I said, can you put Rodney back on the phone? Because at this point, I feel this little because I pay my part. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he should have been on the same page, or at least communicated that with me and not put us in this situation, right? So after that, he got on the phone. So I'm like, why didn't you tell me you ain't had your half? He was like, I think he said he did. I said, Rodney, you did not tell me you didn't have your half. Okay, so after that, make a long story short, I became cool with this girl at my job. And I'm only telling y'all, I'm being so honest. I want y'all to know everything that I've been through while being down here. I don't want to hide. I don't want to sugarcoat nothing, because it wasn't easy. I done met some people that helped me. I done met some people that took from me. I done met some people that, did some fraudulent shit. And I'm going to get into all that. I'm going to let y'all know. So anyway, in the midst of that, I had a friend that I was cool with. I'm not going to say her name. She was the older female. Me and her would talk. She would talk about her nigga. I would talk about my situation or whatever. You know what females do. So, in the midst of that, because this is the first thing that, like, really, I had another friend too, but she's married. She had a husband. And that wasn't my first thought to call her, because I'm like, she got a whole husband. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me call my other friend. She don't have a husband. Hey, how are you? She don't have a husband. You know what I'm saying? She stayed by herself. She's older. She seemed like she had her head on straight at the time. I called her. I'm like, hey, look, check this out. And she already knew the backstory. She already knew what I was going through prior to the situation with that person. So I'm like, me and the kids might need to come stay with you. Is that okay? I was like, I promise I'll pay you every week. I was giving her $600 a week. $300 every time I got paid, so I can save. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, yeah, that's cool. She was like, you need me to come get you so I can take you to go get your stuff? I'm like, yeah. She was like, I'll come get you now. I left work early. She come to pick me up. We go to the extended stay. I put all my stuff in the trunk. I'm sorry I ain't want to leave like that, but I'm like, listen, I gotta think about me and my motherfucking kids at this point. Like, you lying, saying you told me that you ain't had the money for the room, and you really didn't, and we all in a whole nother state. We should be down here building. You know what I'm saying? Not repeating what we was repeating up north. So anyway, my homegirl at the time, she come get me. We put the stuff in the car and all that. We go to her place. Okay, fast forward. She had 3 bedrooms. She was like, this is a room. It was already decorated. It was a nice house. It was clean and everything. She gave me one room. She was like, this is for you. She was like, the other room can be for the kids so you can have your space. Okay, you know the saying, you never really know somebody until you move in with them. Okay, I moved in with this girl. Mind you, she worked with me too. She was a CNA. I worked in the kitchen. She was a CNA. So let me tell you. So in the midst of that, my first night staying there, I made, me and the kids, I think I made some tacos. She sat in the kitchen with me. We talked. She was, smoking her stuff. I don't smoke weed. I don't judge people that do it either. But she was smoking her stuff. I was cooking, talking to the kids, kiki, ha, laughing or whatever. So I washed the dishes. No, I cooked. Maddie washed the dishes, but I helped her. I swept. I even mopped this lady's floor. So the next day, when I'm leaving out for work, she leave out before me. So she was already gone, because I was working, I think, 11 to 7 at the time. So when I left out, I look on like the wall. I see she had like this decal thing on the wall where you, like a chalkboard where you could just write little notes on in them. So I looked, and she put, P.S. Can you please clean your mess up after yourself when you cook? I said, oh yeah, but I feel energy. I looked at it, I said, I was confused. I was like, you sat in here and watched me cook. You watched me and Maddie clean. I offered you some food. She said she don't really eat tacos like that, so she ain't want the tacos or whatever. But she sat there and watched me cook. So after that, I was like, oh no, I'm not cooking in here. Like me, once I peep something, I'm like, no, this not, yeah, no. So mind you, I started giving her $300 every time I got paid. When I saw that on in the kitchen on the wall, I was like, I'm not cooking in here no more. So I went in the room. When my kids got home from school, I had a conversation with them. I'm like, listen, I'm not cooking no more. I don't have time. I don't want to get into it with her. You know, I'm not cooking. I don't have time for the shadiness or whatever. It probably wasn't shade. I probably was thinking too deep into it, but I don't want nothing to happen that don't need to happen. So I'm not gonna stay in the kitchen. We going DoorDash, or either I'm gonna bring y'all some food home from my job. I'm working in the kitchen, so I made sure my kids ate.